Hi, 안녕하세요. Hi, my name is Tracy, and I'm your Ajuma and founder of KPoppers For Christ. I know a lot of you ladies right now that are watching this are mostly from the Global Kiss Me group, which is awesome. So thank you so much for joining. Um, but if you're not, and if you found out through like Tumblr, Twitter, Guru Pop, wherever else, the banners might be or the links, thank you for watching this. Um, I'm just gonna try and give like a real quick breakdown to just like how I became a Christian, how I found out about K-pop. Just kind of give you like a little video that you can watch and you can just kind of like see like the person behind the page and uh, just stuff like that. Um, just a little bit about me. Um, I turned 32 last month, so yes, I am old. um, I'm a single mom. I have a 7-year-old son. And so I am actually British. I was born there and I lived there until I was 10. And I was adopted by Americans, and my adoptive dad was in the U.S. Air Force and he was stationed over in England, and then my sister and I were adopted. And then we were stationed back over in the United States. So I've been in the U.S. since I was 10 years old. Um, Pretty much when I was put into the foster care, my sister and I, we were in a foster home for about 2.5 years before, the whole adoption process started. And one thing that my biological mom, put for the paperwork for, future parents that would, go through the adoption agency, she basically put down that she wanted my sister and I to be brought up religiously. If we were still going to be in England, she said, she wanted us to be like members of like the Church of England or, Christian or, something along those lines. But that was something that she, did want for my sister and I. So when we went over to Maryland, and that was where my dad was stationed before he got out of the Air Force, they basically found a non-denominational church, and that's how my sister and I were brought up. And then the same church that we went to, they also had a private school. So from third through like eighth grade, I was there at like that church and that school. And then my freshman year, I went to a Baptist school. Um, but pretty much, from I guess 12 until my senior year of high school, I was just really, on fire for God, a strong Christian. I've actually had dreams. I've had dreams about hell. I've had dreams about heaven. I've seen angels. I've seen demons. I've actually seen God's hands, in my one dream. So I've had, spiritual encounters in my life. And with my adoptive parents, I was just extremely, extremely sheltered. And I pretty much just like stayed home. I never really went out, like ever. um, I never drank, I never smoked, I didn't go to parties, I didn't lose my virginity until I was like 20, so, I was like the good child, and it was basically my sister was the example of like what not to do, and she's 3 years older than me. Um, so I pretty much like led like the straight and narrow life, like in terms of like, drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, stuff like that. Like I didn't touch that stuff. And so because I was sheltered and because, of like the strict upbringing, um, when I was able to get out of, living with my parents, and when I joined the military and, I was on my own, I pretty much was just like wild. And I was like, I don't have anyone to look over my shoulder. I can do whatever I want. I'm my own boss. And when it came to like my life, like on my own, I didn't seek God. I was like, I've had just this upbringing of just like, um, just the way my parents punished me. They used religion as a form of punishment. They would, highlight and, circle, and they would just like bring to attention like any bad thing that I did. And they basically made me feel like I was going to go to hell if, like for doing just like one little thing wrong. So it really put a bad taste in my mouth. And it wasn't until I came back from the military and I found myself back, at my parents' house, and I wasn't even there for like a week, and then I found out that I was pregnant with my son. And I was like, oh boy, out of wedlock, and I was 23. The father left like 4 months into the pregnancy. He found another woman who already had a child, and so apparently that was more important than the, son that was growing in my stomach. So when I became pregnant, I realized, I had to kind of like put my life straight, and I was like, I need to be an example for this child. So I rededicated my life then. Like I said, I was about 23, 24 when I was pregnant. Um, and then I lived with my parents from pregnancy until my son was like 3 years old. So once I moved out and it was just my son and I, then I was like, oh, I can do whatever I want, so that same repetitive behavior. Um, and then it wasn't until 2 months ago that I rededicated my life again. So um, I had to pretty much like be like at my breaking point, like the lowest of lows. And um, we all go through trials and tribulations, and it's all in like how we handle it. But one thing that I know for sure is that if God is not like, right there in your life, and if he's not like the focal point, there's like a whole bunch of things that are going to happen that, you're going to feel like are impossible and you can't go on, with, the human mindset, everything is impossible. But with God, like everything is possible because he is the alpha and the omega. He made everything, so, he can definitely do everything in our lives if we make him that focal point. Um, I've always liked Asian stuff. When I was in high school, I loved Japanime. I used to draw Japanime when I was like 14, 15 years old. Used to love watching Sailor Moon, just anything like manga, stuff like that. I did not know about K-pop or any of the Korean culture stuff until August last year. And it was always Japanime, always Japanese stuff that I loved, but I never really like considered Korean. So when I first started liking Korean, like K-pop, it was Rain, and he's actually like a year younger than me. So I'm like, yay, someone my age. And then it was Big Bang, and then just like a few other acts. But the way that I really truly found out about K-pop was actually through Simon and Martina on their like, K-pop Music Monday and the whole Eat Your Kimchi YouTube channel. So that's how I found out about K-pop. It wasn't until September, October that I learned about UKISS, and after I like started researching, I was like, oh, that's it. I just like UKISS. Like that's it. There's just no question. And I don't belong to like any other fandom. It's just UKISS. So I am a like diehard Kiss Me. Um, and I do listen to like other music, and I do love like BAP, but I'm not like any of their. I'm not part of their fandom or anything like that. For me, like being a Kiss Me is like the only thing I'm interested in, you know. Um, but my first bias when I first started liking You Kiss, of course, was Kevin. And I was like, wow, I was like, that's so awesome. He's a Christian, you know, and he actually has no issue with like proclaiming his faith, you know. Um, and then I saw like from Dong Ho's Twitter that, you know, he was a Christian too. And I was like, oh, cool, you know. And so maybe like 3 months ago, through Tumblr, um, Kevin Woolis, I basically just sent her, you know, a message, and I was like, hey, that's cool that, you know, you're a Christian and, you know, you like K-pop and you're a Kiss Me. And it's like, wow, that's so awesome. And so, you know, she put up this picture and it had Kevin in a pew, like praying in a church. And then I saw like someone sitting next to him and I'm like, who is that next to him? And she's like, it's Sooyeon. I'm like, it's Sooyeon. I'm like, he's a Christian too. I'm like, oh, that is so cool. So supposedly like Hoon and Eli are as well, but you don't really like hear them like talk too much about it. And I know like it's said that like AJ and Gisop are supposed to be like Buddhists, so I'm like, okay, you know, that's to each their own, you know. But the fact that Kevin, you know, he just constantly like he tweets Bible verses, and there was this show where it was just him, you know, like doing this TV show, like where he was a guest, and, you know, I guess they were saying like, you know, bring like 3 things that are like valuable to you, and he brought like a devotional, and he brought like a Bible, and I think like maybe like a journal or something like that. So I was like, wow, the fact that he's going on to like a TV show and bringing like a devotional and like a Bible, I'm like, that's pretty cool, you know. Um, but I really wanted to make this video just to, you know, say like the reason that I'm making this group is because, you know, I'm like, there's got to be other Christian people out there that love K-pop, you know. And I've kind of like seen it like here and there, but I'm like, well, if I make a group, you know, I'm like, that would be pretty cool, you know. And it's just basically a place where I want us to just, you know, encourage each other and just build each other up, and especially like with the whole like K-pop thing, how it is secular, but, you know, just because it's secular doesn't mean that, you know, there's not people that, you know, aren't Christian, you know, like we still listen to secular music. So I just wanted to create this group, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm excited to see, you know, how far this can go and how many members we can reach out to, and just see it multiply, and, you know, I'm excited. So I hope you are too, and I see it's going on like 13 minutes for this video, so I'm gonna wrap it up. Sorry if I spoke too long, but just wanted to give you a little background about me, and I hope that I can start doing a series, just talk about different topics, and we'll see where that leads. So again, thank you for watching this long video, and I hope that you guys enjoy being in the group, and please be active. Don't let me just have it seem as if I'm the only one talking my head off, you know? And spread the word, you know, just let's try and find other Christian K-poppers out there. I think that will be awesome. So, okay, annyeong. Have a great morning, noon, night, whatever time it is for you there. And I will see you guys in the group. All right, take care. Bye.